Good people. This is Marcus Brown with ChessFrog OmniVersity. As usual, we have our producer extraordinaire, Mr. George F. Grundy II, the one who is unheard. And we're coming through you by way of Out of the Mud Productions. It is their gracious efforts and resources that make this show possible. The topic for this week: American success. How do we define it? What does it mean? What is the American dream? Hit me up at 248 820 5053 if you want to call in, or hit us up on Facebook if you have questions, comments, or thoughts about what is the American dream. What is success? We can talk about this in a financial sense, spiritual, or romantic sense. There's all different forms of success out there. But let's go back in history, as usually we have to do when we're talking about a topic like this. When we define what America is, America means different things to different people. To the African American, America might be a scary concept historically because of the slavery and racism. But to other people, people who came to this country voluntarily, there was this concept of milk and honey and road and streets paved with gold, that opportunity was everywhere. If you are an immigrant, the child of an immigrant, or the grandchild of an immigrant, your great grandpeople, your ancestors probably felt this way about America, the land of opportunity. And to tell you the truth, it is the land of opportunity for some people. There are people that come across the border and get a check, and I'm not trying to sound MAGA or anything like that, but there are people that come across the border and don't have to pay taxes for the first few years that they're involved with the United States. So there are some perks to being an immigrant, most definitely, but these are the same perks, if not better, that other people got when they came over, whether you be Irish or Polish or from whatever country of national interest that you come from. America was that opportunity for a chance. What does the American dream mean today? Some people would define the American dream as being able to find someone you love, being able to buy a house, being able to have kids and a car and a decent job. For some people, that's the American dream. For other people, the American dream might be being able to make a lot of money. Depending on what paradigm you exist in and what your thoughts are, you got to be careful because there are potholes and traps with this thing called the American dream. If your American dream includes marriage, a lot of people get caught up in this Disney concept of marriage. And the Disney concept of marriage is very close to that Shakespearean concept of marriage. Either everybody end up tragically upset or everybody end up dead or unalived by themselves. Excuse me. Marriage in America, my apologies. Marriage in America used to be an arranged marriage or for business profit. You'd have one family say, let me marry my daughter off to your son, and both our businesses will do well, or we can expand the farm, or we can trade easier between hay and cattle or whatever. A lot of marriage, the way that we think about a marriage in a romantic sense, did not exist or is not common 200 years ago. Most people got married for business reasons or for very practical reasons, like, well, I want to start a farm and I want to make my family rich. Let me go ahead and get married and find somebody that my family approves of. Today, marriage is usually associated, or romance is usually associated around the people that we went to school with. For some people, that is a factor. For other people, they go to clubs, and yet even another section that's a growing section, some people use computers in order to find that love of their life. Computer love. I don't think Roger knew what he was talking about, but maybe. So You have your American dream. You want to own a house. You want to own this. You want to own that. It's quite difficult to achieve the ultimate American dream, the silver platter edition, where you have a mansion and yachts and so forth. 40 or 50 years ago, it was more possible because the economy was different, plants were different, and Americans could had disposable income where they could actually buy a cabin out in the woods or buy a boat or buy a second or third car for the house. Today's families, we need two incomes in order to raise a family. Being on a single income, even if you by yourself, is kind of difficult. Try to imagine being on a single income with a wife and you live in like they did 30 or 40 years ago where the wife stayed at home. That'd be kind of difficult to do or manufacture. When we talk about American success, when we talk about American success romantically, we're talking about a whole bunch of components that need to fit together in order for you to feel that success. Why am I talking about this? I think I've achieved parts of that American success. I don't have the equality that I want from the government or from the police force, but I've been able to come up out of the mud, so to speak, or up from the dust and have my own house or own actually three houses. I've been able to buy vehicles. And there are certain things that I do that a lot of people don't do, but smart people do. If and whenever possible, do not go into debt. Sounds common sense. Some people will tell you the exact opposite. Oh, go out and get as many credit cards as you want. No, that's garbage. Today's world, you're going to need at least one credit card, and I recommend you don't use it. But I was in a situation a few years ago, being a cash money man, where I needed to rent a car, or if I needed to get a hotel room, they're not letting you get that hotel room or that car without a credit card these days. So you have to have a credit card. I don't care what Wu-Tang said, cash does not rule everything around me or you. Now you have to have a credit card in order to get certain things. Cash is spectacular, but credit card and credit is good to have also. How do we go about achieving the American dream? Some people would say the key to American dream is going through education, getting yourself a degree, taking yourself to school, becoming a doctor or a lawyer. Other people would say, no, the new key to American dream is entrepreneurial abilities, being able to start your own business, being able to say, hey, I can cut out the middleman or I can become the middleman. Somebody has to supply or create certain things for everybody. I'm going to give you a prime example, great idea, and an idea that's been floating out there for a while. I'm a big proponent of solar power. And I think that solar power is going to fit just perfectly with all these electric cars coming out. But the one problem is we don't have the infrastructure for electric cars. If everybody in the United States got an electric car, there'd be long lines at the pump with people trying to plug in. People are going to have to get their own devices to charge their cars. You might be able to hang a solar panel up on a house, run a cord from it directly to your car. I actually think that'd be a great business model to build these solar panels in Flint and give people jobs to weld the panel to the cord that goes to the car. You have an automatic situation where you have a supply and demand type infrastructure where there's definitely going to be a supply for these power cords. And if they're solar powered, even the better. So, how do we go about achieving the American dream? We said one way was to go to school for many years, become a successful doctor or attorney. And there's not always a guarantee of success. No matter what school you go to, I don't care if you go to Yale or Harvard, sometimes success just isn't there. So, but one form of success is academic, where you go to school and you learn the craft or the trade, or not the trade, but learn the profession that you want to go into, whether it be accounting or teaching or nursing or medicine or legal. You learn your profession, you go into it, you work X number of years, and you're able to retire. But hold on. We're going to talk about retirement in a second because that's a scary thing right there. Another form of American success is entrepreneurship. Being an entrepreneur, being able to start your own business, whether that be a car wash, whether you're building solar panels, whether you are doing something like landscaping or whatever, being your own boss has certain abilities. We have a phone call coming in. Oh, our call-in number is 248-820-5053. We need some callers to call in, or we need somebody to hit us up on Facebook. Talking about entrepreneurs being the way toward an American dream of finding success, having 2.3 kids and a 4,000 square foot house. Okay, maybe 3,000. 4,000 is a lot to clean up after. But we have the academics, we have the entrepreneurs. What's the other way of reaching the American dream? Oh, this is one you're going to love and hate at the same time. You can inherit money. A lot of the 2% who stand at the top of society inherited their money. Whether your name be Rothberg or Roosevelt or Rockefeller or whatever, a lot of that money was inherited. That meant that there was some savage capitalist out there who was your ancestor, who had a great idea, who invested in the right thing at the right time, or committed some great crime in order to get their money. So people say you look behind any great wealth, there's a great crime behind it. Now I'm not sure if this is like with old man Kennedy, John Kennedy's father being a bootlegger, or if it's like other people being involved with slavery and inheriting money and still holding on to money since the days of slavery. But there's a lot of questionable ways that people achieve their money in America. Those quote unquote blue bloods aren't trying to do nothing but be like the nobles of England. So we have academics, we have entrepreneurship, we have inheritance. And the short of you being the son of the queen or the grandnephew of the archduke, that's not going to flow. Other ways of making money, athletics. A lot of people choose to go into sports, whether it be football, basketball, whatever, and achieve great things there in order to make money. Is it a guaranteed way? I don't like discouraging children, but I always tell children to always have a backup plan. I don't know if you're going to become the greatest NBA player or the greatest football player, but one wrong touch to that knee and your career is over. So I say always have a backup plan, and your backup plan doesn't have to be too far off from the sport you're playing. Take some classes in kinesiology or in physical therapy, and you might be working with your teammates anyway. But it's always good to have a knowledge of your body anyway, especially if you're an athlete. Other ways people make money. Now, this is the most common way people make money: publishing. And when I say publishing, I mean writing. I mean creating content, creating entertainment. When people write something, a book, people read it and read multiple copies of it, you get paid for it. When people create content, like right now, I am creating content, but my producer ain't paying me for it yet. But one day we'll see a day where this content will pay off, just like the early days of television. This is considered publishing. This is considered print in a way, by the way that money gets handed down. People advertise on a show like this, and they say, hey, we like what this guy is saying. And what they do is they put an ad on there and they monetize this show. So we have publishing as another way. Another way of getting rich, crime, believe it or not. A lot of people don't realize this.
So hold up, man. You just called me out, man. You saying that I ain't paying you. Where we going with that,
I'm
man?
saying I'm being robbed by you.
Oh
So
wow!
I don't get paid.
Now you're being robbed.
I got a little chain on my ankle. They keep me chained to this desk.
So now he's being robbed. Now he's being robbed. So look, I'm just stop this real quick. So Out of the Mud Incorporated is a C corporation, which it means that as we grow, shares will be available for people to purchase. There'll be an opportunity for you to help your pockets grow and help our pockets grow, just like Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or the ABC company. So we're a corporation. So the thing is about growth. It's about content collection. It's about being able to be a media company that expands and
it
does
takes 2 or
things.
3 years to get started.
Well, however you want to look at it, there's a plan, a written plan, and it's not just something that's came out the sky. There's a true fire plan, and it's not about how many views you can get. It's about the structure of the company. So my intent is to make sure the structure of the company is where it should be in order for us to get the things that we need to get, and so we can grow. And you'll end up seeing us on ringing the bell at NASDAQ one day.
Going to ring the bell at Wall Street when they get their out of the mud numbers, or whatever they call that shortened form of the name. Probably be out OOTM. But anyway, another way of making money is publishing. Whether you write the next Harry Potter, or if you write the next Facebook program, that's all considered publishing, and that's the most common and lucrative way of making money, is to create the next video game or design the next format for media. Another way of making money in America, working the old-fashioned hard way and squirreling it away. If you create a plan when you're 23, 22 years old of how you want to retire, when you want to retire, how much money you want to have, you have to start planning when you're young. You can't wait till you turn 50 years old and say, "Ooh, I got to start planning for my retirement." No, retirement planning starts early. I'll give you myself as an exemplar. I went into education as a teacher. Every year I was given a raise as a teacher. That raise went directly into savings accounts or investments. So I said to myself, if I can live off X number of dollars in 93, I think I can live off the same X in 94.
How did that work out for you?
Oh, it was struggle. My wife has never had a new car. I've never had a new car. But
so was it worth it?
It was well worth it. We bought a house that was well within our price range. Our kids have never had to suffer from being hungry. Our kids have never had their water or gas or electric cut off. And we had money stashed away that when I was annoyed by the school district because I don't think they're teaching the correct way, it made it easier for me to step back from the school district and do what I want to do. And I speak for the trees. I am the Lorax. I have fruit trees on my farm. And the only reason I bought a farm was not necessarily to make money, but to keep myself busy historically. And tell me if this is true in your family also. You have a family member that worked at the plant all their life or worked for this company all their life. When they get retired and they get their gold watch and they get sent on their way, they lose their structure. They lose the daily thing they went in for. They getting up at the same time, going to work. Having that structure is important, especially if you live with it all your life, and then suddenly to have it taken away. I've had quite a few uncles and known quite a few other African American men in the Detroit area where I was raised that died shortly after retirement. Like, wow, didn't he just retire? They don't have the right things to do, so they might go clubbing, or they might go tricking, or they might get that money and waste that money. But that lifestyle or a sudden lifestyle change is a quick way to die. I try and keep myself busy mowing grass and planting seeds and giving away fruits and vegetables. And I think that's a healthy way to live. So not only do you have to plan for your retirement, you have to think about how to get to that retirement. We all want to play the game Monopoly, but if we have to think about it, it's not just about Monopoly, it's also the game of life. Remember how in the game of life you got offered the chance to go to college or get a real job, or you got offered the chance to buy insurance at a certain time or to buy stocks? If you don't plan for the future ain't got no plan for you. So it's important, especially for us African Americans, to have a concept, a realistic concept of what the American dream means. What is it that you cannot live without? How do you want to live when you get older, when it's time for you to retire? If you don't plan for it, it's not going to just magically happen. And what scares me and what's jacked up about us, we'll go out and get lottery tickets and say that's our retirement plan. Us will always sing the blues because all we care about is hairstyles and tennis shoes. Playing a lottery to think that that's going to be your retirement plan is lacking common sense. I gave you one plan where you take not the profits from every year, but you put your raises into a separate account or a separate investment. Another plan is don't make tricky investments. You need to have something solid. If the new company comes out called Netflix 9.0, let's just say it's better than Netflix, but how long has that company been around? You need to go with something that's stable, that's been around for years and years and years and years and years, and has a good name behind it. They might not be getting the greatest market share, but there are certain companies that have stability. Some of the utility companies have stability. Companies like Apple and IBM have a certain amount of stability and a certain expected growth rate. If you know that your favorite store is Kroger's and you see Kroger's has been slipping lately by serving bad meat or doing something crazy, that's not the company you want to invest in. You want to invest in a company that you trust. If you know that you've always bought Buicks and they've always been great for you, invest in Buick. Invest in what's around you and what you know. You do not have to be a stock genius in order to make money on the stock market. Sometimes it just takes common sense. I personally own stock and I own stock in Dollar Tree because I like the way they do business. When all the other dollar stores are out there, Dollar Tree had a consistency and a neatness about their stores where stuff wasn't spread all around. That's it. Yeah, I like this. I have stock in Five Below. Same business model as Dollar Tree, but people getting what they want. And sometimes you get some great deals there. I also have stock in Toyota. I also have stock in Sony PlayStation. When I was like, if everybody's buying this, Sony has been on top of the game for a number of years. I don't think they get knocked off the top anytime soon. You still got people on waiting lists trying to get a PlayStation 5. So when you're investing in stocks, do it like you want to use that company for real. If you don't like the way Walmart treats you, don't buy their stock. If you don't like the way uh, Golden Corral does their food, don't buy stock there. But if there are places that you always consistently know you're going to be going to, like I know my kids are always going to get some McDonald's or them fries ain't changing too soon, buy stock in McDonald's. Buy stock in things that you know are going to go up. And everybody has a little piece of the sun and a piece of common sense in them to know what to buy. If you don't trust that, there are these things out there called T bills, and there are government bonds you can buy that guarantee you a certain amount of interest if you allow them to hold your money for a specified period of time. You might be able to buy a T bill for $5,000 and the T bill matures in 1 year. If the T bill interest rate, if the T bill interest rate is let's say 5%, then you get 5% of that $1,000 at the end of the year, which comes up to roughly what 250. What 5 times 50? Yeah, $250 for a simple investment. Call in number 248-820-5053. Come on, folks. Some of y'all need this wealth, knowledge, and how to get ahead in the game. Because I see a lot of people out there looking for that lottery ticket wealth or looking for some type of magic to come along. And you got a lot of mamas out there raising these boys like they're all going to make the NBA or they're all going to make the NFL. That's not a guarantee. And as we've seen recently, there was a basketball player made over $80 million during his career. Now that he's ready to retire, he has to file for bankruptcy because he wasted most of his money. And that's what we do. Sometimes trying to keep up with the Joneses is a waste of money. Oh, he got an Escalade. I got to get an Escalade. Oh, he got a motorcycle. I got to get a motorcycle. Oh, they live in a house like this. Bop, 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 bop. I got to compete with them. We need to stop doing that. We are not in a game where we could even play that game against the real people that got gobs of money. If anything, we should start working together. If you get 10 families that make average money together and they put their money together, they could buy an apartment building. If they pool their money, they could buy an apartment building, rent out the extra units, and have somewhere to live for free. If you live in grandma's house or your mama's house, don't let the county take it because you too trifling to pay the water bill or to go downtown and pay the taxes. Taxes are due every year. I used to think that I would be able to be rich enough where I wouldn't have to worry about money. In reality, my mama bust my bubble and said, nope, you always gonna have a bill, whether it be a water bill, a telephone bill, a consumer, electric, gas bill, whatever. There's always gonna be somebody that's gonna be hitting you up and a way that they can leech money away from you. The ideal behind the system of capitalism is for a few people to get as much money as they can from as many people as they can. Don't be one of those people. Start thinking outside the box and outside the paradigm about what really is important. Is it more important that you make X thousands of dollars and drive a certain vehicle, or is it more important that you spend time with your family or your loved ones, or that you witness the birth of a child? There are things we have to prioritize in life. The new slavery is getting you addicted to money. The new slavery, let me repeat that, is getting you addicted to money and chasing dollars instead of chasing what is comfort or what is happiness. And happiness for you might be making all that money, but I kind of think that a part of one of the reason why you want to make that money is for family. Happiness for me is spending time with family and being able to do for family. So yeah, money is a tool, but a lot of people treat it like it's a god. We got to shake that paradigm and get out of there. 248-820-5053. You think I'm talking trash? Let me know. If you have ideas on how people can earn money and keep money and retire early and live a decent life, hit us up. What are ideas or things that you've seen? Come up with the next invention. Come up with the next ironing board slash bed. Invent a piece of furniture. Invent the next car. Invent an engine that runs on water. There's a lot of different things that people can do or should do in order to make money. Some of them are harder than others. Some of them require years of study. Some of them just require a little bit of common sense. Hey, I know that electric cars are coming, and half the corner blocks or corner slots in the city of Flint are owned by the land bank. I would buy a bunch of corner spots and create the new gas stations of tomorrow. Put few solar panels up, hook some cords up, bam. You have your own filling station, the new electric filling station for different vehicles. Don't even have to have a gas pump there. Just a way for people to translate money from one account to another account. So hit me up if you got thoughts on what it means to be rich or how do we define the American dream. Because the concept of, oh, I love you, I want to marry you, and want to stay married to you for the rest of my life, it doesn't happen that often. And part of the reason why is because people have false expectations. They've seen too many Disney movies where everybody falls in love and there's not another problem and everyone lives happily ever after. That doesn't happen in the real world. You have to learn how to grow with that person that becomes your partner and change with that person that becomes your partner and evolve. The woman that I married 32 years ago is not the same woman that I'm married to right now. The man that I was 32 years ago is most definitely not, especially with this gut, the same man that I am now. But he is a person that evolved and changed from that man and is still with the same wife after 32 years. And in this world, it shouldn't be considered an accomplishment for someone to be married that long, but it is because the divorce rates are going off the charts. All right. We're still running time here. We're still trying to figure out if we can get a guest or someone to call in at 248-820-5053, or you can hit us up on Facebook. We're talking about what is the definition of the American dream? What is the definition of wealth? What is the definition of success? There's a lot of things impacted in those words, those simple words like success, wealth, being rich. It's one thing to be rich and have common sense, and it's another thing to be wealthy without common sense. Person with common sense is going to make their money make money. Person with all the money but no common sense is going to spend it. And that's what has happened a lot with a lot of athletes, a lot of entertainers. They don't have anyone to teach them or show them how to go about saving money or making that money work for them. You have to remember, money is a tool. Money is not a god. It's nice to have money. It's very nice to have money. But I would take family over money any day. Having a nice card game with my family, or having a nice dinner, or going out, or being able to provide for my family in a certain way. There are certain things that we lose focus of when we go on that great money chase. 248-820-5053. Out of the Mud Productions, LLC. LLC. C Corp. What is C Corp? It's a C corporation. Investing in yourself is another way. That's that entrepreneurial spirit. Get yourself a camera, start recording content. There's going to be a need for content in the coming years. And the people that are right now making all this content are the people that are going to make a lot of money in the future by having their own stations of sort. The internet's about to change dramatically in the near future, and content is key to the way it's going to change. If you know you live around a bunch of athletes that do extraordinary things, go ahead and record them. If you know you got some talented singers in the family, go ahead and record them. If you are always seeing funny stuff happen, go ahead and get your meme on. Go ahead and get your video on and get that stuff posted and get that stuff copyrighted, because they will monetize it and people will pay to see interesting things. See, I could just stay on the video all day long and people would just pay to see my beauty. Not. You got to have something interesting for people to want to see or want to watch. And whether that's a kid singing the Oscar Mayer song, or whether that's videotaping people not doing their job correctly or doing them correctly, you always have to have an edge or a way of thinking about things. All right. Well, last chance, 248-820-5053. Hit us up before we sign off. This has been ChessFrog OmniVersity. I appreciate you guys listening. If you have any questions or comments or suggestions, please hit us up as soon as you can. Other than that, we might be signing off soon. Mr. Grundy, did you have any questions or comment about what we were talking about there?
Not right off. It was all you. Let you do your education piece. I am still, nobody can hear me.
Well, what I suggest is, while you are a teenager, make sure, or if you have teenagers in your house, talk to them about what family wealth is and passing down the house and making sure that grandma's house stays in the family. Making sure that you don't let a water bill or a tax bill prevent that homestead that your grandparents paid so much money for.
Right.
This goes right back to the colonizers who took the land from someone else. So,
yeah, I think since you asked me a question, it's very important to get economic information or education in order to be able to maintain, sustain, and prepare for those behind you. And biblically, it says a good man sets up for his children's children's children.
well, that's the idea. But what scares me is I'll be inside of a corner store and I'll see somebody cash their check and give literally at least 10% of their check to the man behind the counter because he's willing to cash that check. We should have our own bank account, and maybe we should start our own bank. But at the very least, you need to have your own bank account where you can cash your check and not have to give 1/10 of your money. That's almost like tithing
Well,
at the grocery
that has a
store.
lot to do with financial literacy, like what you're working on right now. And then being being set as prey in certain communities. The economic systems aren't the same in every community. We have access to different things, but we don't have the education or know-how or the resources to be able to get to certain things depending on where you're from and what you know. So,
well, there are banks everywhere, and they offer different rates, and they offer different requirements for you have to have $50 invested with us, you have to have $5 invested with us. Some of the credit unions or whatever, it's still better to have an account
so
and have your check cash into your own account as opposed to giving somebody 10-20% of your check
I
because you
agree.
don't have an account.
I agree, but on the other hand of it, there's some places that are economic deserts, just like they're food deserts, meaning that within walking distance, the closest thing to go to is your corner store. And within walking distance, the closest thing to go to is a cash advance place. And so they're predatory lenders and predatory opportunists
and predatory businesses.
Right. So
you got errands. We were talking to a friend the other day. He was talking about going to errands to rent some furniture, rent to own some furniture. And when you get done with the contract, it's just like that movie Fences. You can wind up paying 10 times
what it was worth
for it.
But the thing is, when you're trying to have a stable life and you need opportunities and you need a chance, they're the only ones that give you a chance. There are certain organizations and companies that are out there because they know that the system is rigged for you to lose and stay perpetually in this cycle. So to me, I'm not trying to go off of what you said because everything you said was edifying for people's financial literacy. I'm just saying there are other things that have to be addressed accordingly.
Well, number one, I think the most top priority is families need to have this conversation, intergenerational conversation. That means Big Mama needs to talk to the kids about how to save money, mistakes they made with money, and go back and forth about how to best save and make sure that next generation will have a silver spoon or at least a spoon in their mouth. Because the way that the economy is going, the way that politics are going, the way that things are swinging like a pendulum right now, soon there won't be a middle class. There'll be the haves and the literally have nots. And I know which side I'd rather be on than not. So people need to start talking to each other and start saving grandmama's house from the land bank or from the taxes and start saying, you know what, maybe we can wait to buy this furniture. If I wait 6 months, I can buy this furniture straight out for cheaper than trying to get it today and still paying for it 3 or 4 years from now. You got people out there still paying for a platform TV that they bought in the 90s because of all the taxes and interest on it and whatnot, one of them old projection TVs.
You're right. Another thing I believe in, and I'm going to leave it alone, is that people don't understand or have the respect for ownership like what used to be. People are comfortable with working for other folks, are comfortable with someone telling them what to do and how to do it. And then because they make a decent wage according to the society, they are economically accomplished. And for those that do not fit their economic accomplished thought process or where they've come, they don't look at you as if you are successful just because you have your own and because you're doing for self. If you don't really have it's like the Joneses concept, everybody's trying to keep up with the Joneses.
My lifestyle ain't for everybody. Some people say I got to have a new car. I've never owned a new car, never had a desire to own a brand new car that loses half its value as soon as they drive it off the dealership lot. I'd rather buy a car a few years old at a more reasonable price. My houses are not mansions, but I own 3 different houses, and I am able to make sure that I have a roof over my head and a roof over my kids' head. We have a family house, we have this, we have that, and I'm trying to teach my kids about intergenerational wealth and how to pass stuff down. But this lifestyle ain't for everybody. Some people are going to be sheep. Some people are going to be broke. Some people just can't help but spend their last dollar on a lottery ticket. If you're tired of living like that, tired of scratching from paycheck to paycheck, you got to start planning differently and start living accordingly. If I know I can live off the same money I made in 94 and 95, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to scrap and scrain a little bit, but I'm going to go for it. But my wife and I were able to retire early and enjoy each other's company and still have some vitality left. Who wants to go to Puerto Rico when they're 80? I'd rather go to Puerto Rico when I still got a little vitality, can swim. At least I can kick the shark or whatever, jump over the shark. But it's, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. It's a whole bunch of little niche sayings like that about the what's the one, the grasshopper and the ant. One of them stored up all summer long, the other one played all summer long. Okay. Hey, if that play right now is out there for you, you want to spend your money at the club and on new cars and buying this, that, and other thing, go for it. But when you hit your 50s, if you don't want to be all like, ooh, why am I still working? Why they got it so easy over there? You can't blame them because they decided to save their money and spend their money in a different way. You have to start making something that's called a budget. And they should start going over budgets in elementary school as part of math education, as part of wealth education. Half of us don't even live on a budget when we should be living on a budget every month. Half of us just say, oh, money came in, money went out. If you're not monitoring or trying to create a way of saving money, then you're not helping your kids. You're actually dooming your kids to repeat the same thing. And sometime, somewhere, somebody's going to have to break the cycle and say, well, I heard this man say if I save X amount of dollars, 10% of my check every month, then I have this amount of money at this point in time. The system is made to take your money. It's called capitalism. They want to take it any way they can, and they got commercials and metadata. They mine metadata, and they send you stuff that you want. Wow, I didn't even realize I wanted the 7-Up, and all of a sudden the 7-Up commercial pops up on the screen for you. You didn't realize you need a new washer and dryer, but they all of a sudden got the new washer and dryer for you. There is control, there's sublimation, and there's a lot of different things going on out there with money. It's best to have your own mind and own ideals about that right now. Again, this is Marcus Brown with ChessFrog OmniVersity. We're talking about financial wealth and the meaning of success in America. This has been an Out of the Mud production with my man, George Grundy II.
George F. Grundy II.
Cookie Monster by any other name. All right, people. Peace out.